Hello everyone, Dr. Kristina here from the TMJ and Sleep Therapy Center of Cleveland. So today I actually wanted to talk just briefly on the importance of sleep. So when we talk about sleep, I'm not only talking about the quantity of sleep you get, meaning the number of hours that you get, but also the quality of sleep. So we have so many patients that come into the office and they say, you know, doc, I sleep for 9-10 hours a night and I'm still chronically fatigued. And so then what we really have to do for those specific patients is look at the quality of their sleep. Are they actually getting into these good restorative deep sleep stages? And a lot of times we find that the answer to that is no. So just briefly, what I wanted to touch on is, why do we actually need sleep? Like, what is the importance of it? Why are we meant to spend a third of our lives sleeping? And is it actually really that important? And as it turns out, yes, sleep really is that important. And I will say, although we do treat sleep breathing disorders, meaning issues with breathing while you sleep, which causes frequent arousals, the number one reason people tend to have sleep disturbances or have sleep issues is their own self-imposed sleep deprivation. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about the fact that people aren't actually trying to get enough sleep, that most people think that they can get by on 6 hours or less of sleep. Reality, that's not the case. And I know there are a very, very rare subset of people who can get by on less sleep, but the percentage of that is so small, it's essentially zero. So you should always operate under the assumption that you are not that person. Okay, and that you do actually need an 8-hour sleep opportunity. And you might not sleep all 8 of those hours, but you should be giving your body the opportunity for those 8 hours. And for some of us, we need 9, so that 7 to 9 hour window, while it is recommended, it is actually very important. So that would be the number one thing I would always say whenever we talk to a patient, because even a lot of times we'll treat them, we'll get their apnea better, they're able to stay asleep through the night, they're able to fall asleep a lot easier, but they still tell me, I just still feel tired when I wake up in the morning. And we go back and we look at their sleep schedule, and when are you falling asleep and when are you waking up? And we find out they're only allowing themselves a 6-hour sleep window. That's still going to increase your risk for things like cardiovascular disease or heart disease, neurocognitive issues. So just shortening your sleep is going to have a lot of these same detrimental effects that we see when we're talking about sleep disorders in and of themselves that are actually causing disruptions to your sleep. So what are some of the most important things that happen when we sleep? So the number one thing, and widely studied as well, is how it enriches our ability to learn, how it improves our concentration and our focus, how it improves our ability to memorize, to make logical, sound decisions. So when we are losing out on sleep, or when we don't have a sleep, we don't really have this whole slew of positive experiences when it comes to focus and concentration. And that's probably one of the number one reasons people come into my office is, I can't remember things. I just have this brain fog. I just feel so foggy in my brain all the time. So sleep in and of itself is so important and so beautiful and help enriching that ability for us to learn, to concentrate. And when I do another video about the effects of sleep deprivation, what you're going to see is when you are not sleeping, you're sleep deprived either because of a sleep disorder or because of your own self-imposed sleep restriction. What you're going to find is your abilities to concentrate are just so significantly diminished. They estimate up to a 400% reduction in focus and concentration. And where that really plays out as dangerous and scary is when you're behind the wheel of a car. And you have to figure that's not only for yourself, but that's for the other drivers on the roads as well. God forbid it be another family or something like that, or your own family in your car. So what else does sleep help us do? So sleep really helps bolster our immune system. And while I'm recording this, we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. And so we're all, at home. There's a lot of stress, and, a lot of people aren't getting the good quality sleep that they should be getting. So just to point that out again, sleep is going to greatly aid our immune system. It's going to help us fight things like malignancies, prevent infections. And they've done a lot of research, and you can actually see the immune cells that actually get reduced or almost completely mitigated when we don't get appropriate sleep. So again, not enough sleep quality or sleep quantity. What else does sleep do? Sleep helps regulate our appetite. So there are certain hormones and things, and again, we'll go into this in another video, that get released that are appetite controlling, namely ghrelin and leptin, that we will talk about. And what these hormones do is they help us feel full when we eat food, and they also give us the ability to not feel hungry, right? So only feel hungry when we're hungry and feel full when we eat. And we have sort of a reversal of these when we are deprived of sleep. Okay. As well, it maintains a really good microbiome. And if you're not familiar with the term microbiome is the bacteria that live inside our gut. Our gut flora might be another thing that you've heard of. And if you're unfamiliar with the topic, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about it, but essentially the bacteria that live in your gut are very beneficial for us for a whole host of reasons. And they can actually turn. So, for me, as my background in a dentist, I say it's kind of like a cavity, right? So what happens when you get a cavity? You go from having the good bacteria in your mouth to the bad bacteria that cause these cavitations, right, on your teeth. And so when it's on your teeth, you can see it. It's a similar concept that's happening inside of the gut. And what do I mean by that? So you have these good bacteria that can exist in the gut, and these tend to be in there when you're getting proper sleep, when your stress levels are controlled, when you're eating well, when you're doing all the things that we're supposed to do. However, especially in reference to sleep, and we're just talking about how it can help maintain a good microbiome, when they switch from those good bacteria to sort of more pathogenic or bad bacteria, what ends up happening there is they cause these fenestrations, right? Or these, basically, like I said, if I'm comparing it to the teeth, it's like these small cavitations in the gut lining. And the issue there is now you have what's called a leaky gut. So that might be something that you've heard of, is leaky gut. And what happens is, your gut needs to keep all the other bad things that are passing through it out. And so when you have these fenestrations, these cavitations in the gut lining, you can get all these viruses, bacteria, and things that we don't want to have inside of our body. So now you have all this extra inflammation in the body. Okay, so I won't go out any more about that for now. What else is another important thing that happens when we sleep? Our cardiovascular system. I'm going to do an entire separate video on the cardiovascular system, but sleep deprivation, sleep disorders have been so intricately tied to the health of our cardiovascular system, and we'll see why. So one of my mentors always says, I can give you cardiovascular disease with just the tip of my finger. And what that means, and what you'll see in our next video, is frequent arousals continue to increase the cortisol, which is that stress hormone in our body. So if we want good quality, quantity, the sleep that we should be getting, not only good quality and good quantity sleep, that's going to help keep our cardiovascular system in check. And lastly, it's going to help keep our emotional states in check. So it reduces those big swings in emotions from one extreme to the other. So it's been shown that people who have sleep disorders or sleep deprivation, a loss of sleep in general, they tend to suffer more from anxiety, depression, and things like that. And especially in the population that we largely treat with, which is upper airway resistance syndrome, which affects more females than males, younger, with a lower BMI. But it still can have a similar effect in patients with sleep apnea. But it definitely plays a toll on your emotional states if you aren't getting adequate sleep. So I hope that this somewhat elucidated for you the importance of sleep and why you really need to focus on getting good quality sleep and a good quantity of sleep. So making sure you're sleeping long enough and that you're not cutting your own sleep schedule short. So visit our website, clevelandtmjsleep.com. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do virtual consultations on the website. We have a button there that you can do that. You can always call the office, 440-683-4777, if you want to come in for an appointment. Or you can send us an email, info@clevelandtmjsleep.com. And of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can leave a comment as well, and we'll get back to you there. But I hope you found this helpful, and we'll talk soon.